Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the chart guys. We're going to check in on the broader market as we continue to grind higher in all-time highs, but there's a certain way that the bears may show up fast and hard. I'll tell you about it. We're going to look at our subsectors that have been real strong: uranium, psychedelic, quantum, crypto stocks. Let's get to the charts. This Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel, I'll be doing a live stream pre-market, getting ready for the open and then the first hour of trading to see how things shape up, give you a bit of an open house into what we do in the Chart Guys community with our daily live streams and such. All right, so we keep grinding higher. The bears are not proving a thing. This is the market environment, looking at the daily time frame, where we need to be cautious of a sucker punch. And I'm not going to go in depth into what a sucker punch is because I've already done that with a whole webinar. So I'll link that in the comments of this video. But if you just Google Chart Guys sucker punch, it will come up. And I highly suggest you watch it because this is the kind of bull complacency market environment where you can get a fast, hard bear move. That said, a fast, hard bear move would just have us looking for a weekly higher low on a pullback. But right now, the daily chart keeps grinding EMA 12, keeps hitting new all-time highs, and it's extremely similar. You know, this version back here, it's pretty much a tighter version of that. And can we keep going higher? Yes, but if we're going to top out in a meaningful way, that's probably how it would happen, where, you know, you just get a hard flush, all major sectors at the lows together, XLF, XLV, QQQ, and take out a bunch of stops all on the same move. So that's something we're going to be watching for in the short term. But just with a mindset of, okay, maybe I want to be taking a bit more profit. Maybe I want to hedge and have some protection. But, you know, not constantly looking short because the long has been working for 2.5 months. And that's my approach. So if we look at it from SPY's perspective, we've got this double bottom here. This is where a good number of stops would likely be congregated. 617.87, 618.05. That's going to be a key level. If we hold that on a pullback, the bulls keep control. NASDAQ is similar. Daily's grinding. New highs, QQQ. Look at that base. So QQQ had a low here, 551.63, 551.56, a little double bottom. That's going to be the most important short-term support level. If it ends up being a sucker punch drop, it will be on very high volume. So if you've got any kind of volume alert, that would be firing off and giving a heads up that it is potentially playing out. And I gave examples in the webinar, but you know, you can look back previously. Something like this would be an example where we're grinding and chopping around and it's just a fast, hard drop after a significant bull move up. Here's perhaps another one. You get the all-time high. Meh, that's not a good one. Go watch the webinar. All right, SMH has been the leader of this move up. Pretty much a stair-step move from this higher low, straight up 58% in the span of a few months. Daily time frame, keep it simple. If daily EMA 12 is support, the bulls have absolutely nothing to worry about. We just held it again, and we have a little double top. So again, if we fail this resistance and then drop down and break 283.13 support, we know things are shifting into weekly consolidation. Like I talk about many times, the conveyor belt of trades. When we're in a trending market, and we're in an uptrend on monthly, weekly, daily, to hourly time frames, I want to know names that I'm looking for hourly higher lows on today or tomorrow. I want to look for names where I'm looking for daily higher lows at some point this week. I want to look for names that I'm looking for weekly higher lows at some point in the coming weeks. And so SMH, looking at the weekly chart, we know that when we do top out, we're going to look for a weekly higher low. MU is looking for a weekly higher low and back testing previous resistance. NVDA will certainly be looking for a weekly higher low. So keeping that in the back of my mind and knowing that we will get red flags on the daily charts telling us things are shifting, bears are proving something for the first time in months, but I'm not going to lose sight of the weekly charts still in strong uptrends. So have to determine what time frame matters most to you. Are you going to be looking to try and capitalize as a bear on weekly consolidation, which certainly has not worked for months? Or are you going to let the bears do their thing and patiently wait for the weekly higher lows? And that's certainly what money that is on the sidelines will be looking to do. And they've been patiently waiting for a while to try and get in as well without much opportunity. So if we're going to see a sucker punch, SMH will likely lead the way down because it's been leading the way up. And of course, I'll be watching all the other sectors. Is the rotation going on, or is everything dropping together? We had a bit of rotation on Friday with utilities going up in a big way. We'll look at that in just a moment. But financial sector getting through earnings. That's the other thing. We got earnings coming up for all these tech names over the next couple of weeks. The financial sector's earnings are already underway. Look at this resistance. We topped out, reject, and now we're back testing and holding it as support. There are no red, same thing. The daily chart for XLF showed us some shift. We confirmed this little daily downtrend. Little lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay, the daily chart is shifting. That much is clear. But the weekly chart, anything above 49.80s is just a weekly high or low. So that's why, so much of the arguments you'll see on social media about a stock is someone's bullish or bearish, but it depends on time frame. You can be bearish the hourly chart, bullish the daily chart. So you need to determine the time frames that matter most to you, because that's going to determine your actions. XLF, bulls will need to regain a daily uptrend if we're going to see new all-time highs and a weekly bull flag and continuation. We've got resistance at 52.76, and there is space for a daily high or low attempt next time we pull back. Healthcare is very clearly the lead bear sector. We started with the weakness heading into this year, looking at the most bearish yearly candle in 15 years. Yearly consolidation got underway. Look at this weekly EMA 12. We rejected this bounce. We rejected this bounce. We rejected this bounce. That's our guide. It's a potential monthly bear flag. We confirmed a weekly inverse head and shoulders with zero follow through. The bulls gave it another attempt and double topped almost to the penny, and then we rolled over. And so now we're approaching weekly support. And so if you are looking bearish, healthcare is definitely one of the top places you're looking. And 130.98 support is coming into play. This is the monthly chart. And if the monthly bear flag confirms, yearly consolidation will continue. And we'll be keeping an eye on yearly EMA 12. But again, just very different trading action in healthcare the last 3 months versus semis or big tech or the financial sector. So that's our lead bear sector. XLU, cup and handle, unadjusted for the dividend. Again, left side of resistance, right side double top, bull flag holding EMA 12, grind EMA 12 for a month, breakout. So new all-time highs. I keep an eye on NEE, which has earnings coming up. NEE is trying to get over a wall of resistance. We'll see if earnings helps that or hurts that. But XLU was the strongest sector Friday that I was watching. And we'll see if bulls can follow through in those all-time highs. XLU matters much less for the S&P 500 in terms of its weight in the S&P 500. But bulls always want to see something breaking out if something else is weak. And that's still what we have going on. The bears follow through when it's everything weak together and it's money leaving the market and not just rotating around to other places. So if you're looking at SPY and QQQ, we haven't really done much the last 2 weeks. We're up, but looking where SPY closed July 3rd, we're right there, 0.36%. So that's 2 weeks of trading and we haven't gone anywhere. Nobody's making a bunch of money in SPY or even QQQ the last 2 weeks. Where the money is being made is in these small subsectors, and there's just so much euphoria out there. We have to make note of it and be aware of it, because for me, when I'm recognizing euphoria, generally that means an account drawdown is coming, because my swing IRA account is up something like 18 or 19 of the last 20 or 21 days. And I'm not really doing too much actively trading. I'm doing some positioning. But when that's going on, for me, that means get ready for a drawdown because it's been just going straight up for an entire month. So the subsectors that have been crazy, we're going to look at a bunch of them that I already mentioned: quantum, crypto stocks, psychedelic names, and uranium. Those have been my main focus. But you also have things like, or not Bull. Well, Bull had a really good Friday. We've been watching this name, but Hood. Like this chart. Just look at this chart. It's just screaming up. From those lows back in April, it's up 280%. There's a lot of charts that look like this. We have, drone names. Jobby. Look at this Jobby drone. I was watching this one a month ago and took my eye off it because I thought, so here's me not sticking to the charts. I thought that this sector in the short term needed Iran headlines to continue breaking out, and that's obviously not the case. So when I saw that de-escalate and defuse, I started focusing on other things. But up 100% in a month on Jobby. And again, there's just these little pockets where you can look around at smaller cap names or even large cap names, but they've just gone up 50 to 100% the last 6 weeks. There's a lot of that out there. So Quantum was led by QBT. Actually, it was led by RGTI on news. And on that day, we were up 30 whatever percent, big leg up. And then we looked for rotation, and it's still holding on fine. It's slowed down a bit. We're looking at gap fill up to 1755 with 2142, the most important resistance level. That's still 25% away. But after the big bull move, QBTS then got its turn. And that next day, QBTS was up 15%. Its all-time high is in play. We're battling that right now. It's a potential cup and handle type of setup. Look at the 4 hour. So here is resistance, all-time high. You pull back, you fail resistance, and you bull flag. So if we don't get a sucker punch, and if the broader market bulls keep grinding higher, QBTS is a top watch this week for a 4 hour bull flag attempt to try and get an all-time high, $20 plus. So RGTI rotated into QBTS. QBTS stalled out on Friday. Daily inside bar, slight red, and IONQ got its turn. Not as significantly. It doesn't move as much as its smaller comparative names, but 6%. And it's testing a key resistance zone. You can see we've topped out a bunch of times, upper 47s to upper 48s. And then it's just all-time highs. So key resistance test there. But Quantum coming to life a bit. There was relative weakness. NASDAQ held strong. Quantum got a headline. Quantum strong again. Uranium's been incredible. So CCJ, I stopped out. So I enter long here. I take some profit. I walk up my stop, walk up my stop, walk up my stop. Why am I walking up my stop? Because we've gone literally straight up 100%. And so, okay, I don't want to sit through weekly consolidation after a really nice, the move took place harder and faster than I thought it would. And so I stopped out right here. Confirmed daily downtrend, zero follow through. It ends up being a weekly bull flag to new all-time highs. Darn bad stop out, 69.99. Almost stopped out at that low. But because I recognize it's a bullish environment, I put that capital right back to work in SMR, sector peer, for the weekly higher low. And it explodes to new all-time highs. And had I not stopped out at CCJ, I would have made half as much money as SMR this past week and a couple days. So that was a bad stop loss, but I benefited from it because of the actions I took right after it. I've been taking some profit in MSR. At this point, I'm down to half of my original swing position. The break even's down in the upper 20s at this point. So in full control of the trade, I will sit through daily consolidation with the position I have left. We'll look for hourly oversold back burner, tons of space for the daily high or low. And again, how high can this go? I have no idea, which is why I leave a runner position to ideally continue to benefit. OKLO, also approaching resistance, has not broken yet. But again, these were 4 hour falling wedges that we were watching for weekly higher lows. Not sure if I pointed this out in these videos or the swing report or Chart Guys live streams, but that was, again, the key to trading is identifying the most likely scenario on a longer term time frame. I see a bird making a nest in my garage. Identifying the most likely scenario on a longer term time frame. A weekly higher low is the most likely scenario. EMA 12 support coming up. And then I zoom in and I look for a bullish pattern that tells me that that most likely scenario is shaping up. And that's what happened with OKLO and SMR, 4 hour falling wedges, setting weekly higher lows. I do this on all time frames, day trading, swing trading. It's the backbone of utilizing technical analysis, patterns, reversal patterns, and nested time frames with shorter term time frames shaping up longer term pivots. That's trading. Sounds easy. It's not. But that is as broken down as simply as how to be a successful trader. So uranium's still strong. Crypto stocks had a great week. We know Bitcoin's been real strong in blue sky breakout. Bitcoin broke out, got followed through 10% over the new all-time high. It traded sideways, and then profits rotate around. Ripple rips to a new all-time high, or XRP, I should say, rips to a new all-time high. You got a bunch of altcoins up 50% plus. ETH got its rotation. So coin, new all-time high on Friday. Again, just daily higher lows, EMA 12 support, looking a little bit blow off toppy. And that's a number of names. CRCL had a great week, but topped out in a big way on Friday. So we were up 35% in 3 days, but a climax top. And we're watching, is this a weekly lower high? And if it is, I'm going to be watching for price to just tighten up within this range for a number of weeks into August. But there was clearly some profit taking going on in these crypto stocks. MSTR had a big red day. Wow, that was bigger than I thought. Daily stair step, inside bar bear break, tops in for MSTR for now. And so we're watching, does the profit taking and potential short-term climax tops in crypto stocks, do we see that in the other euphoria names? And it wasn't glaring on Friday, but I am going to be watching for it to start this coming week. Riot is the lead bull miner for crypto names. It closed fine. Higher high, daily uptrend guide, hitting the highest level in the last 6 months. And it's all going to depend on Bitcoin, whether Bitcoin confirms a daily downtrend into weekly consolidation. But I am less bullish to crypto stocks as I have been the last couple of weeks because of the price action on Friday. Psychedelic names, and I don't like to talk about low cap, very high risk, high reward names a ton in the public YouTube channels because I know people will just say, oh, Dan's in some psychedelic names. I'm going to put 50% of my portfolio. Meanwhile, I'm in, 1 or 2% of my portfolio or whatever. But they've just been trading extremely well over the last month. It started with CMPS, 50% gap down, bad news. Use that bad news to buy some long-term positions with the mindset they're either going to zero or I'm getting 100% plus. And knowing that we have a favorable administration, the news headlines are in the Bulls' favor. And so CMPS goes straight up 95% from what seemed like an extremely overdone 50% down day. And then while that's going on, ATAI had positive data, had perfect consolidation, back testing, holding previous resistance as support, holding EMA 12, getting really tight. Lori in our psychedelic and cannabis chat room after Wednesday went and posted, there's a 4-hour squeeze going on, volatility's coming. At the end of Wednesday, I hopped into the chat room, I type ATAI volatility coming, I look at the chat room and I say, oh, Lori just posted exactly what I was coming to say. We both see the same thing. We know volatility's coming. Breakout, another leg up. This name is at multiple year highs. MNMD got rotation recently. Just straight up. Potential top into daily consolidation coming. Don't chase these names. Establish a game plan. News can come out and it can drop 30% or shoot up 30% very easily, which is why I adopted the mindset all or nothing. Smaller position size, all or nothing, because I know that, if I've got a stop loss 5% away, a headline can come out and make that a 20% loss. And so I can't put that kind of risk on. But definitely a small cap sector that I will continue to watch for the rest of the year. And we'll see if we get some more positive developments. And there is more data coming from some of these names. Dollar. So dollar is testing weekly EMA 12 resistance. If you're bullish the metals or other things, you want to see a rejection and the weekly downtrend to continue, but bulls are hanging on for now, trying for the first bull cross of EMA 12 and 26 on the daily chart since this drop started. So we may be shifting a bit. If we pull back, bulls will be trying for this inverse head and shoulders. While that's going on, gold is still tightening up sideways. The simple statement is if weekly EMA 12 is support, the bulls are just fine. I'm viewing this as an equilibrium. Volatility is coming into gold end of July or early August when this range breaks. And if it breaks bear, we're going to zoom out. Again, same thing. There's always, when you're in a strong uptrend, no matter what happens on a bear time frame, you zoom out and you look for the higher low on a longer term one. And there were frustrated bears when I was on the 3-month time frame looking for an S&P 500 3-month higher low in the 2022 bear market. There were frustrated bears being like, is all you do look for, just keep zooming out and looking for a higher low? And the answer is yes, because it keeps working, because we're in a strong bullish market. And eventually it will stop, but gold, break that sideways range bear, we're going to look for a monthly higher low and a potential back test of 3,000. So, this was a weekly short-term bear break that was just a monthly bull flag. So I'm open to the possibility it breaks bear, and then I will watch for the possibility of a monthly higher low. But in the meantime, silver, daily higher low set. Got to be cautious. If we break this support of 37.50, it will show us a short-term shift is underway, and weekly consolidation will be underway, and we'll try for a weekly higher low. Anything above 35.28. Again, silver is one of my largest position sizes in my IRA still, aside from long-term no-touch SPY. And I'm not going to exit until there's red flags on the weekly chart. I have taken a bit of profit in my metals exposure, so it's less than it was, but still going to hold on and see it play out. Miners have been weaker, still riding EMA 12, but close to losing them. Oil, chopping around. I don't have a clear read in the daily chart for oil, but we know we're looking for a weekly lower high. At this point, it is still a weekly bear flag on the table. Bulls need another leg up to 70 to try and see a weekly equilibrium. But if we can't get over this high of 68.34, it's a weekly bear flag. So the burden's on bulls to prove it with another leg up for us to be looking for a weekly equilibrium to then be most likely. But at the moment, bear flag is still on the table. All right. See you Monday, 9 a.m. live. Hope you're well. Do good things. Get a little protective if you've been enjoying the last couple of months with lots of bull gains. And again, just remind yourself, my account, if I've got a long bull lean, will see a drawdown at some point. It's really nice getting used to green every day, but that will change. And we'll see if it's a sucker punch or not. Keep an eye on volume. Keep an eye on all major sectors dropping at the lows together. And many times a sucker punch happens with no news. So if all major sectors are hitting the lows together with no news, it increases the probabilities of a sucker punch a good bit. See ya. That's what happens when you let bird seed grow into more bird seed.